And we are rolling on August 3rd, 2017, where it's a beautiful sunny day in Los Angeles. The sunshine is shining. There's no princess outside. There's people walking their exotic dogs, which is typical of the west side of Los Angeles. People with pretentious dogs. What do you think, David? Anyway, David looks around to make sure that cell phones are away, computers are closed, all eyeballs are upon him. He says to himself, and means it, I respect my audience, finding friendly eyes near the front of the center. Say your name, feel the love. Station.
Hi, I'm David.
Hi, David.
I have learned over time that life is too short to do the things that you don't love doing. All this can be overcome and done other ways without anxiety, which is a big, it's a big barrier for some people, and I've learned over time how to overcome that, but it is very easy to overcome it. So I'm here to tell you today how I am personally committed to not letting anxiety get the best of me. I've struggled with anxiety in the past, and it's, again, very easy to overcome, and I have 2 ways in which I have attempted to do it, and then 3 actions in which I took to achieve my goal. First, to start out, many people have a fear of roller coasters. That's a very common fear. And I have learned that what I did to try to overcome my anxiety was to do as many things as possible without letting my anxiety get in the way. And this is where the roller coasters come in, because many people are afraid of them. And the only way you can overcome fear is if you do that, is if you do what you're scared of. So over time, I started to grow the confidence to go on a roller coaster, and I decided to go above and beyond to try my first one, which included a 325-foot drop at the start. And after that, I realized that I'm not even anxious to walk up to one anymore. Before, I was too scared to even look at one without getting those butterflies in my stomach. Now I just love that shot of adrenaline that hits with either that first drop or first flip. And this brings me to my second thing, which is to try to do as many new things as possible and to keep doing them without letting my anxiety get in the way. This is evident when I used to have a hard time struggling to meet new people because of my anxiety. A lot of times I would freeze up when trying to introduce myself, and a lot of times I missed out on having friends because I just wouldn't talk. I just end up standing there clueless, what's going on. And over time, when I learned to overcome this, it affected me, and then I ended up being able to have more friends in the future. The 3 actions I took to achieve my goal was, first, do as many new things as possible. The more you get fear out of the way, the less fear you'll have. Second, if you just do it, then you have nothing to be afraid of. Back to the roller coaster example. Once you're on the ride, there's no getting off. Just do it. And I'm blanking on my third.
Face your fears early.
Yeah. So if you can face your fears early enough in life, then you'll be good. So I thought it was best that I tried out roller coasters around the ages of 15 and 16 because I was scared up until then. And I thought if I could do that now, I'd love to bring my kids to amusement parks when I'm older. So in conclusion, I've learned that through the two ways that I overcame it and 3 actions that I took to achieve my goal, to being PC, to not allow my anxiety to get the best of me, I have learned that there should be no doubt in this room that I am PC to not letting my anxiety get the best of me. Basically, as long as there's nothing you can regret in the future, then you're a winner. Thank you.
Hi, David. You started with an observation, and I'll just remind you quickly that can also be a poem, a quote, a story. They're also equally effective in getting speech going and getting an audience intrigued by what you have to say. Your thesis preview was a little wordy, but you finally got to the point of you were going to have 2 reasons, 3 actions, and you told us that was coming, so we at least got that out. It was a little ham-handed. Your significant statement was you started out right. You said it's important not to let the anxiety get the best of you so that you regret things you don't want to do, but then you went into a personal thing about how I did it, and I think you can say, and I did it, and I think you can learn from what I did. Tie it back to the audience, tell it to them, that you have a message for them. Remember, it's significant to the audience, your message. I know you all have anxieties, and maybe you can learn from me. When you watch yourself tonight on YouTube, David, you will see that I spent a great deal of time with the camera focused on you, steepling again for a long time, and doing this, and holding your hands together. And it's a habit I think you should get rid of, but
I've tried to get rid of that.
It's up to you. On your first reason, your roller coaster story was compelling and excellent and good storytelling. And so I thought that was real, authentic, somewhat unexpected. On your second story, you told us you had no friends because of your anxiety. You were afraid to introduce yourself, to go up and meet people. And you gradually overcame that, and a little more detail on how you specifically overcame that would have been useful. On the actions, you got a little bummed up on some of them, but they were all consistent with your PC. Remember to have a clear sense in your mind what the difference between a summary and a conclusion. Summary is, I've given you 2 reasons and 3 actions. So therefore, in conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room I am personally committed to overcoming my anxiety. And your tie back was fine. Your connive, speak slowly, make good eye contact, touch on every subject. What was the time?
It was 3:30.
30, good. How'd your connive go, David?
I thought it went pretty well. Just now I'd switch it out for, instead of speaking slower, like stop steepling.
Good. And the other solution is put less into your speech and say it slower and elaborate more on the important parts, the feeling parts, the story parts, the parts that's going to get you payoff in terms of contact with your audience member. Thank you, David. Okay, let's hear from... See, who is that? That was David. Ludo, yeah, we know her. I am. Hi, Ludo. How you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. Ready to rock and roll? All typed up. Excellent. That's an improvement. Over there where the cord hangs down should be right in the middle of you. Yeah, that's good. One step forward, like you're not afraid of your audience. Good. Yeah. Shake the tension out of your arms. Good. Ludo's looking around the room, making sure. What?
Yeah, I won't tell you.
Ludo's looking around the room, making sure all phones are away, no one's reading. Or texting, or has their computers open. She says to herself, and really means it, I respect my audience. Finding friendly eyes near the friend in the center. Say your name, feel the love, start your speech.
Hi, I'm Ludo.
Hi, Ludo.
So I love my mom, and I'm grateful for everything that she's done. This might sound like a cliche, but I feel it deeply, and I feel it so much that that made me translate the gratefulness that I feel for her into trying to please her and to, pay her back. So today, I would like to share 2 reasons why I feel personally committed to not being so hard on myself, and 3 actions I've taken to achieve my personal commitment. But first, I would like to start by sharing a quote by Ricky Pitino. He said that an overachiever is someone who is willing to pay a price to get so much more out of his performance. And this sums up something that I wish I knew before. That being an overachiever does not mean that you're intelligent, and sometimes the price that you have to pay is too high, and it ceases to be worth it. So let me go to my first reason why I'm personally committed to not being so hard on myself. It is because I realized that I was valuing and measuring intelligence based on the grade that I would get. So I was valuing myself based on the grade that I would get. And if I got a lower grade, then I would really get angry at myself. And this made me lose myself, made me lose my passion for the things that I'm interested in. And so I feel that my personal commitment is a way to regain that self-love. So the second reason that I'm personally committed to not being so hard on myself is that while I was so busy working, studying, and volunteering, I realized that I wasn't giving myself time to live. It got to the point where I was considering my partner at work. I would enjoy the time we have together, but there was that thought in the back of my head that if I didn't study enough, if I didn't work hard enough, then I would risk getting a lower grade or performing or doing like a worse performance. But what for? For living or enjoying life? I couldn't let it happen. So then I stopped one day and I realized just how absurd and ridiculous that sounded. So that is the very reason why I am personally committed to not being so hard on myself, to allow myself to live. So the 3 actions that I've taken to achieve this personal commitment are first, to realize that grades do not measure intelligence. And just the fact that I acknowledge this brings rationality into my thoughts. And so it makes me look at it from a different perspective, from a rational perspective. So this shift in perspective really makes me more focused on what it means to live and what I need to be happy and to take care of myself. The second action that I've taken is just to stop whenever I feel like I'm killing myself, and to ask myself why I'm doing that, and if it's a good reason, or is it just to prove myself that I'm worth it, or to prove myself that my mom's efforts are worth it. So this makes me prioritize things in life. And the third action that I've taken is that I put myself and my well-being first. And I've done that by going out more. And I got out of a toxic circle of friends that I had. I met more people, I met new people, and these people are now my closest friends. And I am so glad that I did that, because that allowed me to get to know what true friendship is, what caring means, and what love is. Because I had suppressed all of these emotions while I was working too much. So when I perform these actions, I feel free, I feel liberated, and that makes me feel very good about myself. And I still think that studying is really important, the grades are important, we should all work to the best of our abilities, but we should be careful when setting the price. And going back to the quote, an overachiever is someone who is willing to pay the price for it, but I'm not willing to lose myself. And being an overachiever is not even I realized that being an overachiever is not even the best way or the most appropriate way to show my mom how much I love her and how grateful I am for her.
Thank you. Stay in the middle, yeah, thank you. Okay, well, I like your speech. You've improved. You seem confident. Relax your hands. Let them be by your side. You began and ended with a reference to your mother, and you acknowledged that it was almost a cliche, but you just acknowledged that she was a deep motivator in your life, and you couldn't help it, and you were just being honest about it, and you wanted to pay her back for all she's done for you. And somehow you perceive that the way to pay her back is to be perfect. And I bet if you ever talked to her, she would tell you that that's not exactly what she feels she needs you to do to pay her back. She needs you to do her best to be happy, to develop a good heart, to have good friends, to be kind, to be respectful, you know, good qualities, you know. Your thesis preview was fine. You quoted Rick Pitino. Okay, tell us who Ricky is.
Basketball player.
Rick Pitino, basketball player, will tell us that. And so we know where this is coming from. It gives it a little bit more credibility. So we know that that's happening. On your first reason, Ludo, you talked about your obsession of getting good grades and your when you didn't, how disappointed in yourself you became, stay in the flower stance, and how you you sort of stopped loving yourself in a way. And I thought that was very honest and authentic that you talked about that, and that was real, and that was good. Your second reason was not being so strict on yourself. You realized that you were doing so many things, as you put it, my partner, my lover was work. And I thought back that what is this for? What am I doing all this for if I'm not enjoying life? What's this for? And those are good, important questions to ask every day when you're young, medium, and old. Yeah. On your actions, Ludo, I thought they were consistent with your PC. I think the first thing you are looking to find is more of a balance, right? Between work and play and not killing yourself. I think also you need to do some serious thinking about whether grades equal intelligence or not, because grades only measure one form of a performance of mastering a small body of information, because all kinds of intelligence, creative intelligence, the right side of your brain.
Yeah, I wrote it, but I forgot to say it.
Yeah. So, but there's much more to intelligence than, memorizing facts and regurgitating them to a professor who gives you an A and Ludo goes, I'm intelligent. Bullshit. Right? So I think you're starting to see through that, and that's good. As I have said to others, there's a book I recommend called This Book Is Not Required by Inga Bell, who talks about how to get into a balanced relationship with school and grades, and how to choose a career that doesn't kill you, and her proposed solution is to be a craftsman, not a careerist. And chapter 15 is on the class website, as well as a test I've created to try to clarify your values if you want to take it and see where you're headed. So on your fourth point, you very nicely brought back the emotional connection with your audience. And I felt you do feel liberated when you take these actions, and that was good. And allowing yourself to be happy and that sort of thing is important. You deserve that. Summary was fine, conclusion was fine, went back to the quote, was good. Consistent eye contact. Don't say don't play with my hands, and ring.
Yeah,
How'd it go? Yeah.
So I feel that I've improved the eye contact and play with hands, and I haven't said as much.
Good. The situation with the you can have a friend work with you if it continues and say, friend, I'm saying too much. Every time I say it, raise your hand. So you become aware of how often you do it, and then that will help sensitize you to it. Some people use the transition like. They say it 20 times in a speech. It really demeans their credibility. So overall, I thought you fulfilled the assignment by being authentic. We saw a side of you that you shared about having doubts about being on the killer academic train, and that was good. So you did a good job. Thank you. Yeah, just email it to me.
By tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. Okay, that brings us to...
Manu's here.
No, Robert Fullwider. Robert Fullwider in the house? Robert Fullwider. Hi, Robert. Just need yeah, no. This is your cover page?
Yeah, there's a cover page on the front.
Okay. I'll ignore that. Spit out that evil gum, Robert. What happened? Someone put the chair back in front of the bed. I can pull it out from under.
Oh, put it back over there. I guess a little bit.
It's too cold.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, you're a different size. Let me get you sized up. Okay, Robert stands before you, looking around the room, making sure no one's reading, texting, looking at their computer, talking, eating. Eyeballs are on him. He looks around the room and says, I respect my audience, and he really means it. Fine, friendly eyes near the front of the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Oh, I think I see a princess over there.
Yeah, excellent. Is she wearing one silver slipper? Okay.
What is gluten? You always hear about it, but is it like a health diet or is it a fad? Like, what exactly is it? So for the longest time, I've been so sick, and I didn't know why. So I've been trying to figure out, why am I so sick? Today I want to share with you a personal commitment of me trying to get my health back. And I have 3 actions of why health is so important to me. So, celiac disease is an autoimmune disease that is a serious autoimmune disease that affects your intestines when consumption of gluten. So, the first reason I want to talk about my personal commitment was with my health was that I was so sick and I didn't even know why I was so sick. I felt tired. I felt like something's not right. Like I was always sleepy and lethargic. And so I would go to the doctor and then be like, I think something's wrong with me. Like you go into that doctor's office thinking, what if it's something really serious? And so I go there, they're like, nothing's wrong with you. You know, you have a high white blood cell count. You are anemic, but there's nothing serious with that. You know, you can just take some anemic iron pills. And so like I knew something was more than that because I've been told I've been anemic my whole life. Like why tell me I'm just anemic? Can you just find like the root cause of this? And so I was just, you know, that being ignored and not getting the right answers, I took a DNA test through Ancestry.com. And through that DNA test, I found out that I actually had Irish ancestry. It was unusual because I didn't know I had any Irish ancestry. And with that, it said that I was predisposed for celiac disease because I have the alleles for it. And so I didn't know what it was. And so I learned that I actually had celiac disease, and I learned that if I stopped eating this certain foods like my pizza, wheat, gluten, anything that has wheat in it, I can get better. And so instantly, I stopped eating it, I started feeling better. The second reason I'm personally committed to my health was because my facial appearance. Something I always ignored was that the fact that I had these red scaly patches all over my face. I just thought it was just like acne-prone skin, nothing like really serious. But I found out it was actually my immune system attacking myself. And that's why my skin was so like dry and itchy. It made me feel like embarrassed walking around, like seeing like scaly stuff all over my face. Like family and friends would always say, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with your face and everything? And so like, you know, I didn't realize it. The dermatologist told me, oh, it's just a dermatitis. You can just put some ointments and creams. But that wasn't solving the root problem. It was still, again, gluten was causing that. And so I started realizing that I need to eat healthier. And this is why I stopped eating wheat and try to really understand like what I'm putting into my body. Third, I want to talk to you about 3 actions I've done to help me combat celiac disease and have a better maintaining my health. The first thing was looking at everything I eat and looking at the labels and trying to see what has gluten and what doesn't. Second, I learned actually how to start cooking my own food, which was a hard process. But if I want to get my life back together, I need to learn how to cook my own food and teach myself like what not to put into my food, such as anything that has gluten or wheat contaminants. So even things like soy sauce might have it. So you have to be very careful. Third, I started exercising more because the fact that I had more energy to do things, I felt like, you know, I should start using all the energy that I have for good and start working out. And fourthly, I wanted to just tell people my experience with celiac disease and how, like, you know, even if you're sick, you can combat it if you just figure out what's wrong with you and try to take those steps and momentum of going forward. So there's no doubt in this room that I showed you personal commitment of me trying to maintain my health and combating celiac disease, and I showed you 3 actions. And so, celiac disease might seem like something unusual or a fad diet for some people, but it actually affects a lot of people. But overcoming celiac disease has allowed me to be healthier and trying to live a normal life. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay in the center, please, where I can photograph you. Thank you very much. Robert, I like your speech. You sort of gave it away by asking a rhetorical question. Is gluten a fad diet? We sort of kind of knew that it was coming, but that was okay. You know, that's a rhetorical question. It's fine. Your thesis preview got to the point, so that was good. If you'd practiced it a few more times, it wouldn't have been quite so choppy. You know, you were.
The paper, I forgot everything else to write.
Yeah, but you know, you practice it extemporaneously and say it in your own words each time. It will get smoother. Your significant statement wasn't exactly right because stability has been an important goal to me. I believe being healthy is a blessing. We need to say that I know many of you may be tired and many of you may have some sensitivity to wheat or bread, and maybe you should be tested. Go that far with people, so maybe my speech will be of some value to you. See? On your main body, you went to the doctor, you got this DNA test, you learned that you were Irish and that you had celiac disease, and that when you stopped eating pizza, wheat, and flour, you got more energy and felt better. The red splotches went away and you felt you regained your health. It's almost a miracle. Yeah. So that was self-disclosing and personal and private and powerful and good. So I like that. On your second reason, you talked about the dry, itchy patches, and you never knew these things could do this stuff to you, but you were glad that it worked out and that the problem went away. Your actions were all consistent with your PC. I especially like the one where you're learning to cook yourself, something that everyone, men and women, should learn to do. We've heard in this class that many people lack that ability, and it's sort of sad. And exercise more, well, of course, that's a good concomitant to any change in diet. You flip the summary and conclusion, no big deal. Just have it clear in your mind. The summary repeats the main body points. The conclusion repeats the central thesis. That I am committed to maintaining my health by combating celiac disease. And your tie back to the introduction was fine. Your goals, your canais, remember my lines, speak slowly and clearly. Be within time. What was the time?
4:18.
4:18, almost within time. So how did it go, Robert?
I feel like the feedback was basically like what I need to improve on. Like, I guess I need to practice more. I feel like I practiced it, but then we didn't have time last day, and so I was working more on this final. So I kind of when you miss like a day, you kind of forget things.
Right.
Days. But I feel like if I did it again, like if I was more prepared again, that would probably help me out.
Okay, good. Well, you learned from that, I hope. Thank you, Robert. Okay, that brings us to Daniel Gutierrez. She in the house? No. Mercedes-Benz. She in the house? No Mercedes-Benz. Okay. Anybody else have a PC they haven't done? How'd I miss you? Okay. Okay, let's rock and roll. Oh, I see. I called you the first day. They said you were on the 405.
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Hectic day.
Okay. In the power center of the room. Very good. Yes. Managing attention. Communicating respect non-verbally. Finding friendly. I heard talking back there, so wait for your audience to stop. Put away their phones. All eyeballs should be on you. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Manu.
I'm Manu.
open that door and find every little monster that I've been hiding from for so long. That's why today I want to share with you my personal commitment to sharing my emotions. I'll give you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed and 3 actions I've taken to demonstrate this personal commitment. The first reason that I'm personally committed to expressing my emotions is because I have this unhealthy association with sharing your emotions with conflict. And I know where this stems from. Growing up, my mom and my older sister constantly fought because they had conflicting feelings and ideas towards basically everything. And I realized that may be natural, but I was always the one that had to moderate and step in and neutralize the situation. And that meant that I had to put my feelings aside. If I felt hurt or angry, I couldn't express it because it would just make the situation worse. And I guess it stuck with me, and now I'm in that sticky situation where I don't share my emotions at all. Second, the second reason that I'm personally committed to sharing my emotions is that I have a hard time letting my guard down. I love being there for my friends and listening to what they have to say and how they feel, but I think I fear that I will come off as weak if I share my own feelings. In fact, I broke up with my last boyfriend because of my inability to let my guard down. He thought that our relationship was a one-way road because I didn't trust him enough to, sorry, I'm getting emotional, to open up. I've had a rough day. Sorry, this is killing my time.
You're doing fine. You're doing great. Now tell us some actions you take.
Yes. Whenever I feel angry or emotional, I take a moment to understand my feelings. The second action I've taken is whenever I do have some feelings, I try to express it right away. Because the longer that I keep it in, the worse it will get and the more I will be unlikely to share it. And last, I will constantly remind myself that it's okay to have feelings and it's human nature. In summary, I've given you 2 reasons why I'm personally committed to expressing my emotions and 3 actions I've taken to demonstrate this. Although I skipped it, whenever I do express my emotions, I feel relieved and it's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. In conclusion, there should be no doubt in this room that I'm personally committed to expressing my emotions. I hope by standing up here today and sharing my goal and keeping the goal in mind, the monsters in my closet will disappear.
Thank you. 3:30, thank you. Manu, this was a very brave speech, very personal, very authentic. Thank you for having the courage to share it. So that was good. I like your analogy of the monsters in the closet. And you know they're in there, and you keep the door pretty tightly closed, right? Your thesis preview was fine. Your 6th statement got skipped, and you could have sold this to a lot of people, especially the men in the class who are not used to expressing their emotions or feel it's girly to express emotions, right? On your first reason, you tell us that you live in a dysfunctional family where your mother and sister were battling all the time, and you had to be the moderator. And from this you generalize it was better to shut up and say nothing rather than to get into this kind of brouhaha. Secondly, you said you're not used to letting your guard down, or another way, trusting people or opening up to other people. And this is where, this is where you can learn to relationship where you can express your emotions with another man or a woman or a psychiatrist. And it can be very beneficial because you have these emotions and they shouldn't stay in the closet. When I was a young man, I went to India to study with a Hindu teacher, and I had the same problem, and I said, shouldn't I just keep my emotions inside? Aren't they worthless? I just fight them and I keep them inside. And he said, let me tell you what's going to happen. It's like a snake in a basket. You keep pounding that snake in a basket, pounding it down, pounding it down. Great, he may go away for a while, but you never know when he's going to pop out. I remember that analogy, even though it was 30 years ago, and it was, you never know when they're going to sneak out of the closet and pop out. And emotions are meant to be experienced and to be expressed. There's nothing wrong with them. They're part of what, the repertoire of being a human being means, right? On your actions, you said that whenever I feel some way, I try to understand why. Also, you sort of intellectualizing why you feel that way. And secondly, you say you make it a point to share it right away. You didn't say with whom, but I hope it's a psychiatrist or somebody. And finally, you said you have to remind yourself it's okay to have feelings, because it really is. It's part of human nature. Your fourth point, I feel a big weight has been lifted. That was a very authentic speech. Is that blood on were you bleeding when you wrote this paper? Anyway, okay. Your sorry conclusion to tie back, we're all fine. Your kanais were to keep your hands to your side, walk from one side to the other while facing the audience, and be confident. How'd it go?
Not as I planned.
Well, what went right or wrong, or tell us about it.
I wasn't planning on getting so emotional. And when I did, I kind of just forgot everything.
Yeah. When you find yourself, I call this learning to walk the razor's edge. If I use this metaphor before in class, it's for the film speech. This is another one that I stole from my teacher in India. But you know how thin walking at the edge of a razor would be? Yes, it's very thin and very hard to walk. But it's good to learn to walk the straight and narrow path between rationality and emotionality. Right in between the two. You don't want to be too rational, because then people will think you're a robot. You don't want to be too emotional, because then people won't respect you. Right? They'll think you're just nothing but a mess. But put together, they can be very powerful. So you need to learn to navigate between the two, and it's not difficult. So when you find yourself falling off the razor's edge, as you did with your speech, and you felt yourself weeping, there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't try to fight. You should just say, I feel sad right now remembering this. Be real with it. Don't let it overcome you. And then just keep it going. Get back on the razor's edge, okay? And that's how to handle that, okay? The best way to handle it, okay? I like to use also the metaphor that like a boat, you need a sailboat, you need a rudder to guide it, which is reason. But you need emotion, the wind, to run it. And you need both. You keep it going. And you have all emotion with no rudder, you're all over the place. You have a rudder and no feelings, you ain't going nowhere, right? So, you know, remember the two are needed. Anyway, you did a nice job. Thank you. Okay, anybody else not do their PC? Okay. Oh, thank you for telling me it's out of battery.